This video is going to be divided into two sections, the deck profile and the test duel. There's going to be timestamps on the screen so you guys can switch between them. Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the channel. So today I have a pretty cool deck that I want to share with you guys. Now this archetype has been around from maybe the beginning of Yu-Gi-Oh, and now in 2021 the deck is still viable. So in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys my Gravekeeper deck profile. You guys know that I'm a budget duelist, so most of my decks are budget builds. So these are just some cards I have laying around. I think the deck is good. I've been testing the deck on Yu-Gi-Oh Pro and it works very well. So let's get into the deck profile. So starting off with the monsters, I play triple Commandant. Commandant is the searcher of the deck. Send it to the graveyard. I can add Necro Valley straight from my deck into my hand. I play triple Gravekeeper Spiritualist. Spiritualist is the monster that is able to fusion summon if I have Necro Valley on the field. So if I have a SHADDOLL card or another card, once I can fusion summon it, I don't need any polymerization or super poly. All I need is Necro Valley on the field. I play two Gravekeeper Headman. Headman is like the monster reborn of the deck. When this card is summoned, you can target one level 4 or lower Gravekeeper monster in your graveyard and special summon it to your side of the field. I play one Gravekeeper Recruiter. Recruiter is a searcher of the deck. If it's sent to the graveyard, if it's in my control and sent to the graveyard, it adds one Gravekeeper monster from my deck to my hand with 1500 or less defense. So that's it for the Gravekeeper monsters. I'm sure that you guys know that I love shaddolls. Shaddolls are my all-time favorite. So I play a small SHADDOLL package. I play one Wendy. Wendy is a special summoner. Once it's sent to the graveyard by a card effect, I can special summon one SHADDOLL monster from my deck. I have one SHADDOLL Dragon. Dragon is the spell back row removal, spell or trap. If this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, I can destroy one spell or trap card on the field. And its second effect, its flip effect, if it's flip face up, I can target one card on my opponent's field and return it to their hand. I play one SHADDOLL Beast for the extra draw power, and pretty much that's it. That's all the SHADDOLLs that I use in this deck. Now moving on to my hand traps, I use a very small hand traps, budget hand traps. I don't want to use expensive one because this deck is a budget build. So I use two Ghost Ogres and one Effect Veiler. Now these cards work really well with my SHADDOLL fusion because they're light targets. And for the last two monsters, I use one Dark Harm Dragon because most of the monsters in my graveyard are dark, and Fossil Dino. Fossil Dino is a very good card. If this card is face up on the field, nobody can special summon. If it's flip face up, I can destroy every special summon monster on the field. So this card is really good. So that's it for the monster lineup. Now I'm going to move on to the spell cards. Obviously, I play triple Necro Valley. Necro Valley is the MVP of the deck. If it's on the field, no player can move cards from the graveyard. You can't monster reborn it. You can't banish it. It's pretty much graveyard lockdown. I play three Necro Valley Throne. Necro Valley Throne is the searcher of the deck. It allows me to go into my deck and add one Gravekeeper monster from my deck to my hand. Or if I want to get a extra normal summon, I can use the second effect and get an extra normal summon once per turn. Royal Tribute is one of the most powerful cards in the deck. If I control Necro Valley on my field and activate Royal Tribute, each player discards every monster in their hand to the graveyard. I played two Hidden Temples of Necro Valley. So what this card does, if I have Necro Valley and another Gravekeeper monster on the field, no player can special summon monsters except for Gravekeeper monster. So this is part of the lockdown for the Gravekeepers, which is pretty cool. So the main problem with this deck is that the deck is really slow. So I added some cards to improve, the consistency of the deck. So I played triple Pot of Duality. Pot of Duality is a very good card. It's a budget, card to increase your draw power or your search power. Pretty much it helps the deck really well. I played two Super Poly. Super Poly is just a very good card. It's one of the most loved cards or hated cards in Yu-Gi-Oh. I play one SHADDOLL Fusion. SHADDOLL Fusion is a very good going second card. The reason why I play 1 is because the deck is limited in shaddol pieces, but this card is really good. I play 1 Foolish Burial, 1 Terraforming, and 1 Swords of Concealing Light. This card is really good. So what this card does is when it's activated, every monster that is on my opponent's side of the field is flipped into face down defense position, and they cannot switch back into face up. So this card is really strong. So that's it for the spell cards. Now let's move on to the traps. I don't really play a lot of traps. I play 4 traps. So the traps that I play are Imperial Tomb of Necro Valley. It's pretty much a counter card that can negate anything once you have a Gravekeeper monster and Necro Valley on the field. I play 1 Necro Valley Temple. This card is really good. This card allows me to activate Necro Valley from my graveyard, and if Necro Valley and a Gravekeeper monster is on the field, every monster on my opponent's side of the field loses 500 attack. And for the 2 last cards to make the 40 card deck, I play double Dogmatica Punishment. The Punishment is a very good card. It works very well with the SHADDOLL engine, because when I activate Punishment to destroy a card on my opponent's side of the field, I normally send to my graveyard SHADDOLL App Cologne. App Cologne's effect activates. I add Wendy to my hand, then I have to send a SHADDOLL card from my hand to the graveyard. So I send Wendy. Wendy's effect now activates, and I set Beast on my side of the field, which next turn I'm going to flip up and I get to draw 2 cards and discard 1. So pretty much Dogmatica Punishment works very well with the SHADDOLL engine. Moving on to the extra deck, I play 3 Gravekeeper Spiritualists. This is a card that protects the Necro Valley, and it also gets 200 for each Gravekeeper monster in my graveyard. I play double El Shaddol Winda. The Winda is the floodgate. It allows me to stop my opponents from, going into their combos, because they only can special summon once per turn. It's really easy to be summoned in the deck, and it's pretty much one of the shaddolls that you will be going for most of the time. I play 1 El Shaddol Construct, 1 El Shaddol Shikanaga, 1 El Shaddol Christia, and 1 El Shaddol Up Cologne. I play 2 Starving Venoms for my Super Body targets for Dark Monsters. My final 2 cards to make my 13 card extra deck is 1 Redoer and 1 Nightmare Phoenix. So pretty much that's it, guys. That's my deck profile. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you found this deck profile interesting and you want to see more, please leave a like on the video and consider subscribing to the channel for future content.
I'm just fucking lit, man. I'm just fucking lit. Drink a bottle of this shit, man. Bottle of this shit. I'm about to write a hit, man. About to write a hit. No, I'm never gonna quit, man. Never gonna quit. I just took another hit, man. Took another hit. I'm about to lose my shit, man. About to lose my shit. Does she have a fucking wristband? Yes, she needs that shit. Better get her out real quick, man. Get her out real quick.
Are you the present or the future? Are you a drinker or a boozer? Are you a giver or a user? Are you a winner or a loser?
And I said that I would never back down. And I said that I would never back down. And I said that I would never back down. I swore that I would never fucking back down. Pass a bottle and a fifth, man. Bottle and a fifth. Cause I'm feeling like the shit, man. Feeling like the shit. Yeah, her body's like a gift, man. Body's like a gift. Cause she's looking hella fit, man. Looking hella fit. And I can't always commit, man. Can't always commit. Pull the trigger on this shit, man. Trigger on this shit. Cause I feel I haven't lived, man. Feel I haven't lived till I got the